That's some wow. That's some powerful words, right? Never underestimate yourself. You were a sponge for learning. You kind of jumped in, like say 6 years ago, and your
Right.
trajectory has been kind of moving up and up and up. Well, you've been over 500 podcasts. Wow, I got a ways to go. So from that perspective, ordeal. Wow. So as we talk about cost segregation, right? To anyone who may have not heard of the term, or they may have a rental portfolio, why would it be important for them to consider doing a cost segregation study on potential rental properties, and what type of properties would qualify?
Welcome you to our podcast, Get Diversified. Throughout these series, we'll cover all the topics and questions you have about investing in apartment buildings, storage facilities, and mobile home parks. Being knowledgeable in these areas will help you feel more comfortable about investing. Apartment investing equals building wealth. Building wealth equals financial freedom. Achieving financial freedom allows you to spend your time with building memories with your loved ones. Let's face it, time is the one element in life that is limited, and
Are we ready?
I am ready. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Get Diversified podcast show. I'm your host, Melvin Landry, and folks, today we have a great one. We have Mr. Yonah Weiss, who's on the set today, and we're going to talk a little bit about real estate as well as cost segregation, what it means, how can you benefit from it, and how it can be beneficial for you from a financial standpoint for your real estate journey. So, yeah, Mr. Yonah, welcome, sir. Appreciate you. How you doing today?
Mr. Marv, so great to be on the show. I'm excited to be here, so appreciate you having me.
Hey, man, thanks so much, man. So, Yonah, where are you located again in terms of the geographical part of the country?
Geographically, I'm located in Jerusalem, Israel right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I come back and forth quite a bit.
Okay, cool. Well, man, hey, it's a pleasure to have you here on the show, and we're looking forward to kind of getting that intel and knowledge. And you're known as the cost Seg King, am I correct?
That's what they call me. That's what the cool kids call me. Hashtag cost Seg King. It's really a self-proclaimed title. So,
Understood. Well, Mr. Yonah, why don't you introduce yourself, tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about you and how you got into your journey into real estate, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. First and foremost, I am a husband and father to 6 kids. Really grateful for the life that I've lived, and try to pay it forward and help other people. It's really kind of my MO, is seeing what I can do for others in this world. I was a teacher for many years and ran a nonprofit helping kind of orphans and widows and people in dire health crises with financial struggles. But teaching has always been my passion. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point, about 8 years ago, I was in myself some very dire financial struggles, and realized that continuing being a teacher, I was really not able properly to support my family. And I decided to kind of make some changes and look for opportunities. Real estate kept coming up in conversations when I was speaking to friends and acquaintances about what I should do, change of career, change of something. And I just went with it. And to be honest, I had no background in finance. I had no background in accounting, no background in real estate whatsoever. But because of really my thirst for knowledge and my teaching background, I was able to learn very quickly a lot of parts about commercial real estate. Nice. And about 6 years ago, I started with, after doing various different things in the real estate industry, brokering and do some fix and flips and commercial mortgages and a lot of things. I started working for this company, Madison Specs, which is the biggest national cost segregation company, without really knowing much about cost seg at the time, but very quickly learned from the incredible experts that make up this company. And here I am 6 years later, having the cost Seg King, really the expert in the industry, having spoken on close to 500 podcasts and dozens of events and speaking and things like that. It amazes me. And really, one thing just for our listeners to take away from that is never underestimate yourself, and never underestimate the power of God and where he can put you in this world and how you can make a difference.
Wow, amen to that, man. That's some powerful words, right? Never underestimate yourself. You were a sponge for learning. You kind of jumped in, like say 6 years ago, and your trajectory has been kind of moving up and up and up. Well, you've been over 500 podcasts. Wow. I got a ways to go. So from that perspective or a deal, wow. So as we talk about, cost segregation, right? To anyone who may have not heard of the term, or they may have a rental portfolio, why would it be important for them to consider doing a cost segregation study on potential rental properties, and what type of properties would qualify for that? So I want to share some insights on that.
Sure. So first and foremost, cost segregation is very much a confusing topic for a lot of people. And I think the reason why that is when you hear anything having to do with taxes, most people's brains shut off. Right. And right.
Yeah.
Taxes, right. Scary. I have an accountant for that. I don't know. But it's important to know, if you invest in real estate, the IRS gives you a deduction called depreciation.
Mm-hmm.
And that allows you to take a small amount of tax write-off because you bought a property. Besides, for your primary residence, any type of property qualifies for that. However, cost segregation is just an advanced form of that depreciation, which allows you to take larger deductions of the property in the earlier years of ownership. So again, it's a strategy, really a cash flow strategy, that allows you to pull from a pool of potential deductions that you may never see, and kind of pull them forward to the first year or the first few years. And so really, like I said, any property can qualify for this. However, the bigger the property, meaning the more tax basis or the purchase price, the amount that was the property was purchased for, the more benefit there's going to be, because it's proportional to the purchase price. So for example, bought a property for $1 million, and you can take, let's say, 20% of that tax basis, that $1 million in the first year or the first few years. That's a large amount, right? $200,000. That could be great. But if it's a $100,000 property, and again, take that 20% and you're about $20,000, there's a fee involved in it. So the after-tax benefit almost negates the cost negates the benefit when you're dealing with smaller properties.
Got you. Okay. So what if someone's listening to this and their light bulb goes off, like, a tax strategy opportunity?
Oh yeah.
I paid $600,000 for my primary residence. Does that qualify?
So again, primary residence does not count. It's only for an investment or business property that you can take depreciation deductions.
Okay. So, and when you say investment property, could it be single family, a duplex, a triplex? If I got 20 units, does that qualify?
Yeah, even a single family, any type of property. And it's not limited to residential either. It can be a commercial, a storage, retail, office. It can be even a parking lot, right, or a golf course, like anything that is a rental property or a business property.
Okay. Wow. So, listen, all the listeners out there, right? So, if you have a couple of rental properties, right, you should consider doing a cost segregation study, right? Helps out, potentially can help out your financial viability from a tax perspective. And as with anything, right, check with your CPA. Everyone's situation is different. Disclaimer. So I want to make sure to kind of communicate that accordingly, right? Because everyone's situation is different. So
exactly. And it's important also to just discuss with your CPA, because unfortunately, what I've found over the years is that many CPAs don't even understand how cost segregation works. And or they may be confused by it. And so it's something to bring up, because you might be have the ability to educate your CPA on something. It's in the tax code, but it's the tax code is huge, and not every CPA is an expert, as or should they be, in every area of accounting. And so it's important, especially if they're not real estate focused accountants, this is something you may be overlooking as a potential tax benefit.
Okay. Now, and as we think about, the folks who you work for, Madison, right? How many different studies do you guys execute in, say, a 12-month time frame? I'm assuming the number is going to be massive, but it's pretty curious to know.
Yeah, I mean, we're the biggest national company that's doing this, so it's grown over the years. But last year in 2022, we don't have the numbers for this year yet, and this year is a little bit slower thus far. But in 2022, we did over 7,000 cost segregation studies, meaning properties across the country, all 50 states.
Wow. Doesn't include international, correct? Doesn't Canada, Mexico, can one reach out to you guys if they wanted to do a study? Does that count as well, possibly?
So one can do a cost seg study. You can claim depreciation as long as you're a U.S. taxpayer. If you own a rental property outside of the U.S., you can claim depreciation on that, and you can do a cost segregation study. However, the rules are a little bit different than within the U.S. And so, because there's a different accounting method, without getting too complicated, it's called the alternative depreciation system, ADS. And so that needs to be done, which is actually less beneficial when it comes to cost seg in terms of accelerating the depreciation of certain components, but it can be done. So yeah, we've definitely done it outside of the US. Again, usually larger commercial properties.
Wow, okay. 7,000 studies. Wow, that is massive in terms of the capacity that you guys execute on. So great stuff, man. Appreciate you kind of giving an orientation of cost segregation, how it can help investors, regardless of investors are larger or smaller. One can potentially benefit from this opportunity. So additionally, I want to kind of speak to, you're doing a lot for the commercial real estate community, right? Really active on social media and really being a pillar in terms of fostering engagement, fostering opportunity and awareness, right? In the commercial real estate space. So care to share just a little snippet in terms of kind of the typically, the challenges that you kind of put on. I've participated in the challenge that you kind of brought forth, and just the premise behind the engagement within the community, which has been fantastic, by the way. So
yeah, the premise behind it is really, I've gained so much value from social media over the past 5-6 years that I've been actively involved in it, especially LinkedIn, more than any other platform. Although right now I'm actually becoming more active on Twitter. Okay. There's like a real estate Twitter community, and there's a lot of interaction going on there between people. It's very, easy to get sucked into all kinds of other stuff and negativity and politics and all that. But if you can filter that out, which there are ways to do that, you can really focus. And there's some high quality people on Twitter. But LinkedIn, I mean, the premise is, I've gained so much benefit and I want to pay it forward. I want to help other people, and I want to show other people the power of using this. And most people who have not, haven't had experience in using social media the right way or seen the benefit of, getting anything, whether it's getting business, getting investors, getting deals, partnerships, whatever it is, just making friends, like it is social, right? Social media. People who haven't seen that don't think it's possible or think it's a waste of time or whatever. But what I've found, what social media does by building a brand and being consistent to that, engaging and just putting out content on a regular basis, what that does is people get to know you. And they get to, what's the next step? Like you. And the next step is
trust you.
Trust you, exactly. Yes. And so that's a process. The first step is getting to know you. They have to know you before they can like or trust you. And that's something that I found to the point where if you are in real estate, and even if you're a broker or you're a syndicator, whatever it is, and you're trying to reach out to people, right? The traditional way of reaching out to people is cold calling or cold messaging, and just trying to get the message out there to as many people as possible, hoping that you'll get a bite or it will resonate with someone, right? Or you'll catch someone at the good time. The percentages are extremely low when you're dealing with cold calling or cold messaging or whatever it is. What social media does is it warms up that connection, that people get to know you. And then if and when you end up reaching out to someone, it's already a warm conversation, right? Yeah. And the next step after that is when you become so consistent in doing this, and again building that brand, that people know who you are and what you do and how you can help them, that when they need that thing that you're offering, they'll come to you. Yeah. Right. So it ends up creating, an inbound stream of business, if that's what you're looking for, as opposed to, just trying to connect with people and trying to sell people or trying to do that. If you end up, doing the opposite, if you just end up adding value and giving, and, there's this great book, The Go-Giver, which talks a lot about this philosophy of just going out of your way to help other people and doing things for others without necessarily, without thinking if you're getting something else in return, just doing it altruistically, you're going to end up getting back tenfold or hundredfold
directly.
And so
Always
that's really
happened that
what I've
way.
done. That's really what I've done. I mean, that's the premise.
Okay. Okay. So, and typically, right? So, you put on a challenge, right? What's a typical? I've got an opportunity to participate in one of your challenges. Looking forward to the next one, which is coming up very soon. So,
Right.
what's a typical kind of correlation of a challenge? What goes behind the scenes and kind of putting it together from your standpoint? Just briefly touch up on that for the
Yeah. So
listeners.
what you're referring to is this 10-day LinkedIn challenge that I've done. It's a CRE, commercial real estate, right, challenge that I've done probably once a quarter for the
Uh,
past 3 or 4 years. And it came about, actually, I participated in just a social media challenge that some other, social digital marketing guy that I know was putting on, and essentially challenging people to post consistently every single day, and trying to get engagement and trying to engage with others. And I found that to be extremely beneficial in terms of boosting engagement. And I was like, okay, let me take this concept and just apply it and hone it down in the commercial real estate industry. Because, there's one thing to like be on social media and you don't know if you're even messaging or targeting or engaging with the right people. But if you narrow it down and kind of focus it within an industry, it opens up possibilities, across the board. So what I end up doing is bring together, and at this point, like you said, we're starting one next week at the time of this recording,
yep.
and it's a 10-day challenge, essentially encouraging people who haven't been consistent or maybe aren't as consistent in posting every single day for 10 days straight and engaging with other people. And so what it does is it builds a very strong network, because it's like intense, like networking for 10 days straight, 2 weeks straight, essentially, excluding weekends. So it's basically Monday to Friday, 2 weeks in a row. And you're getting to know a lot of people, and you're learning a tremendous amount, and you're building a stronger, more engaged network. And I've seen people literally close deals, get investors, meet partners, all kinds of things happening specifically through this. So I've gotten tremendous benefit from it as well, because I end up meeting tons of new people personally, and it ends up helping. Again, my premise is, what can I do to help other people? So I see so much going on through this challenge. It speaks to me, and does it does a lot for me, because I actually enjoy seeing when other people succeed.
Yeah. Hey, and being a participant in one of your challenges, I mean, absolutely. In terms of meeting new individuals, collaborating with individuals, whether it's on real estate or even outside of it, right? A lot of folks in the groups are parents, right? So, we kind of speak to, opportunities, issues when you're dealing with, parenting, dealing with children and stuff like that too as well. So it brings an expanded reach, in addition to an expanded association of topics, real estate, other aspects, even life, which is pretty cool. Good to be a part of. So definitely looking forward to participating in that next round, which is coming up here real soon. So good stuff there. So
Absolutely.
good. So Yona, so just think about in terms of, you know, progressing along, right? Your household name, folks know you. Many folks know you. What's the next chapter in terms of the collaboration, even more engagement from a community standpoint, and even on the real estate front? Any kind of things you got kind of brewing up behind the scenes, or something maybe up and coming, anything from that nature? You don't have to speak to it, but just curious.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's amazing that I have become a household name. People see my name synonymous with cost segregation, which has been incredible for our business, obviously. And I'm very grateful for that. Through that process over the years, and networking with incredible people. I started my own podcast, the Weiss Advice, which you were a guest on recently. It's going to air
Yes.
at the time of this recording tomorrow, actually. So that's great. And I've interviewed tons of amazing people, and that's something I love doing as well. Through that, again, through the networking, through the business where we've helped thousands of investors across the country, I've started investing myself and become more
Okay.
aware of the benefits of passive investing and real estate. And that's been a tremendous benefit to myself and my family. And I've done that, quite a few times as a limited partner in many types of deals, from multifamily to self-storage, mobile home parks, RV parks, some other retail property, even some businesses. And so it's been a growing experience, learning a lot through that, to the point where I've been requested, I've been asked multiple times by others It's literally like almost on a weekly basis at this point, where people ask me to, to raise money for them or to join them and to be, a capital raiser or be like a co-GP on deals. And to be honest, it's something that I have considered, and I'm actually part of a mastermind, right? The same mastermind, Raise Masters, which is
Yep.
incredible group of people just learning how to capital raise. So it is something that interests me. It's something that I do see on the near horizon, but I don't want it to, interfere with the business that, my main business, which is the cost segregation.
Okay. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that, and knowing your boundaries are the critical core component, right? As you're kind of going in and progressing through. So thanks for sharing that. Appreciate that insight. So, man, as we kind of get to kind of the closing of the podcast, we know you have a podcast, Weiss Advice. But let me kind of pose a unique question to you. What's some of the best advice someone has ever given to you?
Oh, so much advice. I mean, we get so much on every single episode, but
Yeah. Yeah.
some of the things really come back to what I've learned, throughout my life from mentors that I've had, and even from my parents, and from our sages. Right, I'm a traditional, like, Orthodox Jewish person. We have, and I study on a daily basis, ancient wisdom, that dates back thousands of years and is still very relevant. A lot of it to this day. And one of the things that one of my favorite quotes is, who is a wise, it's a question, who's a wise person? Someone who can learn from everyone. And that's the answer to the question. So essentially what that means is you need humility in order to learn, because you need to realize you can learn something from everyone. And, a lot of people think, oh, this person, they're such a beginner or that. And, what I don't have to listen to what they have to say. But a truly wise individual is, and that's, where Weiss Advice, kind of play on words there, wise advice. It's, is where you can actually look and learn something from everyone or everything. Now, oftentimes it's you learning, what not to do, right?
Yeah.
Or what not to think or what not to say or whatever. But oftentimes it's just kind of integrating and things like that. So that's one of the best advice I have is you need real humility in order to learn.
You need real humility in order to learn. That is, wow, that's pretty powerful, right? You kind of think about, right, regardless of someone, if one's kind of even keel or if they're arrogant notion, right?
Yeah.
Get back down to size, right? In terms of, if anyone's number one in whatever craft that they're operating on, hey, there's always folks kind of chasing the top, if you will. So something to reflect on from that perspective or deal is something kind of worth, just thinking about, right? In terms of knowing where you are in your respective position, what you're competing for, and what good looks like at the end of the day, and what drives success, right? Success, happiness, etc. along the way. So it's a good insight to speak to on the notion of humility. So
100%.
good stuff, man. Good stuff. Well, Yona, hey, if folks can find you, which you're pretty easy to find, but you want to kind of share for the viewers, the listeners, how can folks find you and find out a little bit more about you?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn. That's the best place to find me. You can also go to yonahweiss.com, especially if anyone is interested in learning more about cost segregation specifically. Shoot me a message. We always like to run a free upfront analysis for anyone who's interested in learning and wants to see what the potential tax savings for any property would be. So feel free to reach out. And yeah, happy to help. And again, if you do end up finding me on any of the socials, shoot me a little message. Don't just hit that connect or follow button. Shoot me a little message that you heard me on this podcast, and love to connect.
All right, good. Yona, well, thanks so much for that. So, hey, on behalf of myself, my wife Jacqueline, and the team at More Land Equity Capital, I want to thank you for being on the Get Diversified podcast show. And hey, man, it's been a pleasure to kind of learn a little bit more about you, to get the listeners and the viewers introduction, orientation to cost segregation, and just a little snippets of what you got going on behind the scenes as well. So you're getting diversified too, man. You're investing, you're helping out on an engagement standpoint. So it's pretty cool to see. So once again, appreciate it, man.
Awesome. Thank you, Mert. It's been a pleasure.
You got it.